Because not only have we had a Joey D tonight, but apparently there's a lot of families that can't afford last names. They can only afford one letter. Another poor unfortunate victim of the one-letter last name is about to come up now. Please welcome your penultimate comedian and the people who are streaming. Fuck off. I know I just mispronounced it. Don't be Googling it. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your penultimate comedian, Diana B.
Hello, everybody. Yay! Oh my gosh. So, first of all, I need to address the elephant in the room, especially after Gabby's set. I know that I look like somebody who's not only keeping the village alive, but probably the whole Western Hemisphere, okay? I'm where the gatherers from the other villages come when they're in trouble, okay? I get that. But in all seriousness, July's coming up, and for me, that means I am celebrating my 5-year divorce anniversary. Woo! And the only regret that I have is that I didn't get divorced sooner. And by sooner, I mean before the cell phone. Now, I also grew up without a father, obviously. And Faye and I have bonded today. We have bonded so much today. But what I grew up seeing was that inevitably my dad would show up every once in a while and he would call my mom. And this is how that would go. ¿Aló? ¡Hijo de puta! No se atreva a llamarme más, al menos que vaya a mandar plata. ¡Pa! Oh. Now, the one thing you need to understand about my mom now is that she's one of these people that doesn't believe anxiety is a real thing. And I believe that that's because she had an outlet for her emotions, right? We don't. Because when my ex calls me or needs to communicate, this is how it goes. Not quite the same effect. And now if I'm feeling really spicy and pissed off, he might get one of these, which translates to a passive-aggressive thumbs up. Now, the divorce, however, I have to admit, was my first midlife crisis. My second midlife crisis came very shortly after when I decided to date a much younger man. And I'm talking about like over 20 years age difference. And people, they're a little judgy about that, but I have to say that he was very sweet. He was the kind of guy who would buy me flowers, remember my coffee order, and he went as far as building me a house on Roblox. Super, super sweet. He was the best. I miss him. But why did it end? We really didn't have that much in common. Like, our lives were going in different directions. And I knew that because he would talk about having children someday, and, then he really was floundering about what he was going to do with his life and his career. But what really did it for me is one day he asked me if I was alive when they had pagers. And not only was I alive, but the only reason I even came the first time I had sex was because my boyfriend's pager had fallen off his pants and was slipping under me, and his mom was trying to reach him. Now, I do still have a fantasy about one day becoming somebody's MILF. And the way I see it happening is that one day I'll be up on stage doing my stand-up, and there'll be a man across the way looking at me, and he'll be thinking, now there's a mom I'd like to fund. I just turned 49 last month. I've paid my dues. I've paid my bills. Thank you, ladies in the back. I don't see you, but I know it's the ladies in the back clapping. Okay? And at this point in my life, I want a man that looks at me the way I look at my mortgage statement. Damn, I'm going to be paying for that for the rest of my life. So I'm single again, and I'm on the apps, And my friends really get a kick out of listening to me tell them the stories of what happens on these apps, especially because they thought that people didn't actually send dick pics. So when I started telling them about that, they thought it was just some kind of urban legend. And I wish it was some kind of legend. I wish it was a legend like Bigfoot or the Loch Ness Monster. But instead, it's more like the legend of the leprechaun. At least with my luck, it's usually short, hairy, and looks like it's wearing a funny hat. But I digress. To date, and you did use that properly earlier today. I've lost my train of thought. I was thinking about the dicks. To date, I have actually received 29 unsolicited dick pics. Okay? How many of those do you think I wish I had never seen? That's right, 28. I keep the other one as a wallpaper on my phone. If anybody wants to see it after the show, just hit me up. Okay? Now, I do believe I am incredibly body positive. I am very sex positive. I think all bodies are beautiful, and I don't kink shame. So take your pictures. However, I do think that a lot of men just don't have the skill to take a good picture. So what I'm going to do is God's work and give you some advice. And this is so simple, you can't go wrong. It's the same advice that I have given my own children for decades. For school pictures. My God, what kind of mom do you think I am? So, just to remember this. Number 1, hold your head up straight. Number 2, don't forget to comb your hair. And most importantly, number 3, for the love of God, at a bare minimum, wipe the crusty out of your eye. Thank you all so much. Have a great night.
All right, keep it up for Diane B. Diane B. That was fantastic. By the way, George, who works makes your patties and stuff like that, made me a fucking liar. Diana wasn't the penultimate comic because George is going to come on after the next comic. So there's 2 more comedians, and then I get to go home. Streaming people, I'm being held hostage. They keep bringing in more comedians. I'm never going home. I'm going to be here at 4 a.m. going, and here's your next guy. But ladies and gentlemen, let's keep the hostage taking.